What's up? It's your favorite YouTuber, Pasty White Boy number 462. Now, if you subscribe to me and you have no idea why, I made that Filthy Frank video about a year ago. Yeah, it's been a while. You may also recognize me as the mastermind behind the award-winning short film, Blart. I apologize. Now I'm gonna be reviewing movies now, because it's something I feel like doing. I got no idea how this works. I don't have a microphone, so you're just gonna have to suffer through my quality audio. But anyway, guys, let's just jump into it. So I saw that new Spider-Man movie the other day, and it was pretty good. Not as good as I thought it was gonna be, but pretty good. That's it. Review over. Have a nice day. Alright, but seriously, I really liked it. It's definitely the best animated movie I've seen so far this year, although there are a couple I haven't watched yet. But I gotta say, it's way better than it has any right to be. It's produced and written by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the filmmakers who directed Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, the 21 Jump Street films, and approximately 1/4 of Solo, a Star Wars story, after which they were tossed into the gulags and left to rot by Walt Disney himself. While they don't direct this movie, their influence can be felt from pretty much every aspect of it. They bring a strange, unique energy that is distinctly theirs, but fits the character of Spider-Man so well. Unlike any movie before, the protagonist isn't Peter Parker, but Miles Morales. The film treats him as his own character, and he never feels like he's under Peter's shadow or forcing his way into a franchise that doesn't need him, which is actually his entire arc. He feels like he needs to earn his place as Spider-Man, but doesn't think he's worthy enough to carry on such a title. It's a fascinating internal struggle that's very compelling to watch. He ain't no Tobey Maguire, though. Peter is still a character in the movie, though, this time played by Jake Johnson. However, this version is a little more sad. He's got basically nothing going for him, and by all accounts, he's a pretty big disgrace of a hero, but he's never pathetic. He's still a functioning superhero, and he knows he has responsibilities to take on. He just also has to deal with the crippling depression is all. And really, kids, isn't that what being Spider-Man is all about? Jake Johnson is perfectly cast for this kind of role, and he's so good that he totally makes up for his performance in that god-awful Mummy movie.
You did not just call it an airstrike! Oh, yes, I did!
Okay, maybe not. The characters are all complemented with absolutely stunning animation that makes this worth seeing on as big a screen as you can find alone. Everything moves exactly how you'd imagine it would in a comic. There's a great effect where the sounds of what's happening will be visualized, and little details like that help establish this as a very unique movie-going experience. Although they do kind of forget about it partway through, and it's distracting when it's reintroduced, but the attention to the detail is still there. All of the Spider people from the different universes are also animated slightly differently, helping bring a distinct personality to each character, all of which are pretty fun additions to the plot that add to the gravity of the situation in hand and emphasize how big of a world Miles is stepping into. Also, one of them is a 1930s detective voiced by Nick Cage, and it's possibly the greatest thing I've ever seen. Keep it up, Nick. I love you. Unfortunately, while the main trio of Miles, Peter, and Spider-Gwen, who's also a fun character with a good arc, all feel like well-crafted characters, the others do feel a little forced and don't do a lot other than offer some comedic relief. They're great, don't get me wrong, I just wish they were integrated a little more smoothly into the plot. The abundance of characters also really hurts the movie's villain, Kingpin. I get that sacrifices had to be made, and for what it's worth, they did try to make him interesting, but he just didn't do it for me. He kinda looks like a roided up version of that kid from Monster House. I don't know if that's valid film criticism, but it's an important detail to mention. There's also a twist that happens that I knew was coming because I was familiar with the comics, but even if I wasn't, I feel like I would have seen it coming a mile away. It doesn't leave the impact that I think it wants you to feel, mostly due to things that happen that I can't get into because of spoilers. I also want to touch on the soundtrack, which, in my opinion, kills a lot of the film's emotional weight. Every time there's a scene of importance, instead of letting the score do its thing, the film shoves in a pop song from some relevant artist, and it's incredibly distracting. It borders on Suicide Squad levels of bad. Like, there's this really impactful scene towards the end, and just when you think you might have an emotional reaction, Post Malone comes on, and all you can hear is "Rise of sunflower, rock star." Overall, though, Into the Spider-Verse is an incredibly entertaining film. It takes the Spider-Man mythos seriously, has great interpretations of the characters, gorgeous animation, and a genuinely compelling story. There's just a few too many issues for me to say that it's a masterpiece of animation or anything like that. I give it like a 7 out of 10, but I'd be open to giving it an 8 after a second watch. So, not sure how I'm supposed to end this. Let me think. Spider-Man 2 is still the best Spider-Man movie, and you can't tell me otherwise. If you have a different opinion, you're wrong. And me and Tobey Maguire will come into your house and beat you. You will be physically injured by Tobey Maguire. You don't want to mess with Tobey, man.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.